If you can't kill a boss, no reason why you can't look like one. Moogle putting the wow in transmogs. Kind of a frosty blue, but it works. I really like this look. Razor thin shoulder guards. I was like pads, guards, same thing. I don't know why did they just say shoulders? Anyway, Isle Expeditions is where you're gonna get it as a drop or buy it on the auction house. Battle Plate of Ancient Kings, Atramedes, Blackwing Descent, 14% on the drop rate for the chest. Next up, the belt. We have a dwarf showing you the bubbling anime belt. Throne of Thunder Heroic, Cache of Storms, 14% on the drop rate for the belt. Gonna stick around Mr. Dwarf, yes he is, and the legs are Sky Strider Greaves, Throne of the Four Winds, Heart of the Wind, and we have a 12% drop rate for the legs. Next up, the boots are the Rock Furrow boots, Stormwind or Orgrimmar. These are what you call Justice boots. Basically, you could buy it for 250 gold. Very easy pickup. Next up, the hands, which are part of the same tier set as the shoulders and the helm, which is an Isle Expedition drop, or you can buy it on the auction house. As we progress in BFA, the prices will go down, down, down. Miskate Cloak, which is out of Eastern Plaguelands, various mobs, or you can just buy it on the auction house. I'd buy it on the auction house. Razorfin Helm, once again, Isle Expeditions. It'll drop from there, or you could buy it on the auction house. Kind of a low drop rate on that. Calamity's Edge, Hellfire Citadel, Heroic, Archimond, 15%. Gonna start off with the shoulders, as we always do. Reconstructed bloody shoulder plates, secondhand shoulders, in other words. Throne of Thunder, Duramu, the Forgotten, what's his name? I don't remember. Kind of a fair drop rate to get the shoulders. The Boulderfist armor is the chest, Adam the Grand, BC. Dark Words, drop it if you want to farm it off of them, or you could buy it on the auction house, probably the best way to go. Next up, the belt, Wild Aspirant's Girdle of Cruelty, WOD PvP vendor. If you hoard, it'll be warmongering either way. Hoard or Alliance costs you just 1 mark of honor. Next up, the legs, part of the same drop set from BC as the chest, Boulderfist leg plates, Netherstorm. Apex is a rare who drops it, or you could buy them on the auction house. Now we're going to move on, and we're going to show you the feet. Tidal Force Treads, Throne of Thunder, Zwen, 5% on the drop rate to get those boots, part of the same tier set as the shoulders, and the gloves, which happen to be next. Stone Ward Handguards, Townlong Steps. You could farm it out of Throne of Thunder if you want, or you could just buy it off the Shadow Pan Quartermaster if you have the gold and the necessary rep. The back is the Black Flame Cape, Ungoro Crater, Living Blazes. If you want to farm it, go after them or buy it on the auction house. The head, Colossal Dragonplate, Face Guard, Dragon Soul, Warmaster Blackhorn. I believe it drops from the first 4 bosses. And the weapon is the Skull Stealer Great Axe, Heroic Fireland. Shanix is the boss. Love these shoulders out of Ulduar. Basically, you pick them up off of Yogg-Saron, Conquerors, Siegebreaker, Pauldrons. Can anybody tell me the difference between Pauldrons and Spalders? I think it's all the same. Next up, the chest, which you really can't see behind the tabard. Furious Gladiators Plate Chess Piece, Dalaran, Wrath of the Lich King version, Wrath of the Lich King PvP vendor, 3 marks of honor. Got a dwarf who's showing the Wrathful Gladiators Girdle of Victory, Dalaran, Wrath of the Lich King PvP vendor, 1 mark of honor to get the belt. Next up, we're going to go with the legs, part of the same PvP set as the chest. You're going to pick that up in the Wrath of the Lich King version of Dalaran, 3 marks of honor. Next up, we have the gloves, which are Toxin, or actually the feet, Toxin-tempered Sabatons. That's what I call my boots, Sabatons. And the hands, now we have the gloves, Conquerors, Siegebreaker Handguards, Ulduar, Cache of Innovation. Kind of a low drop rate, part of the same tier set as the shoulders. Sergeant Heavy Cape, Stormwind, Legacy, Armor, Quartermaster, 1 mark of honor. And the tabard, Keepers of Time, Tabard, Stormwind, or Orgrimmar. Tabard Vendor, Exalted, and Gold to pick that up. Sticking with the Worgen and the Conqueror, Siegebreaker, Great Helm, Ulduar, Cache of Storms, kind of a low drop rate. So the shoulders, gloves, and helm all from Ulduar. And the weapon, Shattered Halls, is the place. Okay, we start off with the shoulders, as we always do. Trench Tyrant's Shoulder Place. Now that looks cool. Or sounds cool. The Eternal Palace, Heroic, Blackwater Behemoths, drop it, and we got about a 5% drop rate. Moving on, the Dread Gladiators Plate Chest Piece, which is BFA PvP sources. It's the kind of thing right here now. If you have it, great. If not, you're probably going to have to be patient before you get an opportunity to buy it for Marks of Honor. Last Stand Great Belt, Battle of Dazalahar, various mobs, or you could buy it on the auction house, actually, so that's a nice purchase. Kind of a fair drop rate on the belt. The legs, part of the same PvP tier set as the chest, so that's Alliance only. Keep that in mind. It's the kind of thing either you have it or you don't at this point, but eventually I'm sure we'll be able to buy it from Marks of Honor. Moving on to the feet, Sabatons of the Stalwart, boots that are made for walking. The Eternal Palace Heroic, Abysmal Commander Shivara, kind of a fair drop rate to pick up those boots. And the Handguards of Revitalization, Ulduar, free as Heroic Gift. 12% on the drop rate for the boots, or actually the hands. I maybe had a little too much caffeine getting behind myself there. Gilded Thorium Cloak, Karazhan BC version. The head, Helm of Tempered Jade, Battle of Dazalahar, as you can see, the boss, and kind of a fair drop rate to pick that up. And the weapon, Hateful Gladiators Greatsword. Keep in mind, you got to buy all the weapons to get it. Well, this is for warriors who want to look like Death Knights, but still look like warriors. Midnight Herald's Pauldrons, Emerald Nightmare Mythic, Zuvius, 5% on the drop rate. Now we're going to go to Simpletown, easy peasy. Hate that phrase, but I said it anyway, not sure why. Hellfire Ramparts, it's a dungeon from BC, Grimscale Armor. Various mobs if you want to farm it there once a day or twice a day, over and over a day, or buy it on the auction house. The belt, part of the same tier set, look-alike as the shoulders and the boots and the gloves, so that is from Emerald Nightmare Mythic. There's the boss, 5% on the drop rate. And the legs, Grimscale Laggards, Hellfire Ramparts, BC Dungeon, various mobs, buy it on the auction house, best bet, of course, but you could go farm it if you want to. Got a very eager dwarf showing the feet, Sabatons of Unchanging Fate, the Nighthold Mythic, some sort of Greek word I can't pronounce, maybe it's Latin, not really sure, 12% on the drop rate. The hands, Bright Breaker Gauntlets, Emerald Nightmare, Mythic, Croesus. That's easy, fair drop rate. Got through that one pretty well. Now we're going to go to the cloak, which is the Silver Thread Cloak out of my least favorite dungeon, No Moran, various mobs, or just step up, buy it on the auction house for kind of that gold, black, silverish kind of cloak. This is a quest reward, the headpiece out of Shadow Moon Valley. There are lookalikes, and the weapon is straight out of Icecrown Citadel, normal 10-man. This set is mostly Wrath of the Lich King and Warlords of Draenor, all the fun. Speaking of which, Blackrock Pauldrons, Garrison, from your Dwarven Bunker, or the War Mill if you hoard Iron Horde scraps to get the shoulders. The chest, Steelbreakers, Embrace, Ulduar, Runemaster, Mulgheim, 13% on the drop rate. Love some of the drops out of Ulduar. Great armor there. Next up, we got an Undead Lady showing the belt of Clinging Hope. Ulduar, General Vezax is the boss. 23% on the drop rate. Next up, we're going to go with the legs, which are also out of Ulduar, part of the same drop set as the chest. Clockwork Leg Plates, XT002 Deconstructor, kind of a fair drop rate to pick up the legs. Next up, we got a dwarf showing you, or that's a Dark Iron Dwarf, excuse me, Blackrock Greaves, Garrison, Dwarven Bunker, or the War Mill if you hoard Iron Horde scraps to pick that up as well. Next up, we have the hands, are straight out of Tanan Jungle, Commander Kragoth, 35% on the drop rate to pick up those gloves. Now for the back. The back is next. Nightshade Cloak, Blackrock Spire, Burning Felguards drop it, or you could just buy it on the auction house. The head is out of the Burning Throne. Garathi bosses, all of them drop it, 12% on the drop rate. And the weapon is up next, which is at a Blackrock Foundry, Heart of the Mountain, 14% drop rate. If you're still listening up and until now, I want to say thank you for watching, and I'll close out by saying what I always say: whatever it is by you, whether it is morning, afternoon, or night, make your day epic.